Hi, I'm Aubrey. For most of my life, I thought family meant something different than what I've recently discovered. I believed it meant unconditional support, especially when it comes to your children and grandchildren. I was sitting across from my best friend Natalie at our favorite coffee shop, my hands trembling slightly as I clutched my mug. I still can't believe they did this to Lily, I said, my voice cracking. She's only 12, Nat. 12! Natalie leaned forward, her brow furrowed with concern. Run me through exactly what happened again. Your parents just left her at the airport? Alone? They were supposed to be bringing her home from their 2-week summer visit, I explained. I got a call from Lily, sobbing, saying Grandma and Grandpa had gone through security without her. What did they say when you called them? Natalie asked, tucking her red hair behind her ear, a habit she had when she was upset. That's the part that makes my blood boil. My mother said, "We all voted she should stay." As if my daughter's safety is something to be decided by a family vote I wasn't even part of. Who is we all? Your parents and who else? Natalie's eyes widened. My brother Eric and his wife Vanessa were visiting at the same time. Apparently the four of them decided Lily was being difficult during the vacation and that she needed to learn a lesson about respect. That's absolutely insane, Aubrey. Your brother went along with this? I nodded, feeling the sting of betrayal all over again. He texted me saying Lily was being impossible and that I've spoiled her. Can you believe that? From the guy who lets his kids run wild at every family gathering? Did you have to fly out to get her? No, thank God. The airport staff found her crying at the gate. A flight attendant stayed with her until I could arrange for my neighbor, Mrs. Chen, to pick her up. I was in Chicago for that work conference, remember? Natalie reached across the table and squeezed my hand. How's Lily doing now? She's putting on a brave face, but I can tell she's devastated. She keeps asking what she did wrong. My parents were her heroes, Nat. Have your parents even apologized? I laughed bitterly. My mother called yesterday and said, and I quote, Lily was being manipulative, and sometimes tough love is necessary. That's not an apology. That's justification for child endangerment, Natalie said, her voice rising with indignation. Exactly. And get this. My dad texted this morning saying they're planning to come over this weekend to smooth things over, as if this is just some minor disagreement. You're not letting them in, are you? I looked down at my coffee, then back up at Natalie, my resolve hardening. No, not now. Not ever again. But I need to do more than just cut them off, Nat. What they did was illegal. It was abandonment. What are you thinking? Natalie asked, her expression turning serious. I don't know yet, but they can't just walk away from this like they have from everything else. For once, my parents need to face actual consequences. Just then, my phone buzzed with a text. It was from my brother Eric. Mom says you're not answering her calls. Don't you think you're overreacting? Lily was being a nightmare. I showed the message to Natalie, who read it and shook her head in disbelief. Do you remember that lawyer you dated a couple years back? She asked suddenly. Jason, was it? Didn't he specialize in family law? James, I corrected. And yes, he did. Why? Maybe it's time to make a call, Natalie suggested, a determined glint in her eye. Find out exactly what legal options you have. Because leaving a minor alone at an airport, that's got to break about a dozen laws. I stared at her for a long moment, then slowly nodded. You know what? You're right. I'm done letting them get away with this kind of behavior. As I pulled out my phone to find James's number, I received another text, this time from my mother. Aubrey, you're being ridiculous. We're coming over on Saturday at 2. We need to talk about Lily's behavior. I showed Natalie the message and her eyes narrowed. Call James, she said firmly. Now. James agreed to meet me the next day at his office downtown. I was surprised by how quickly he responded to my call, but he explained that cases involving minors were always high priority. So let me get this straight, James said, leaning back in his leather chair. His office was minimalist, clean lines and few distractions. Your parents intentionally abandoned your 12-year-old daughter at Newark International Airport after a 2-week visit? Yes, I confirmed. They went through security without her and boarded their flight back to Arizona. They claim they voted that she should stay because she was being disrespectful. James raised an eyebrow. And were there any witnesses to this abandonment besides your daughter? The airline staff found her crying at the gate. There should be security footage too, and I have text messages from both my parents and my brother essentially admitting what they did. He nodded, making notes on a yellow legal pad. And they gave no advance notice? Didn't call you first to discuss this plan? None whatsoever. The first I heard about it was when Lily called me in tears. This is serious, Aubrey, James said, his expression grave. We're talking about child endangerment, reckless endangerment of a minor and potentially custodial interference. Depending on how long she was alone, there could be additional charges. I felt a chill run down my spine. Is it enough to press charges? Based on what you've told me, absolutely. But we'll need to gather more evidence. Are you willing to go that route? It would mean your parents could face criminal penalties. I hesitated only for a moment. They abandoned my child, James. They left her alone and terrified in one of the busiest airports in the country. Yes, I want to press charges. Then our next step is to file a police report and contact the airport security for the footage, he explained. We should also reach out to the airline staff who assisted your daughter. As James outlined the steps, my phone buzzed. It was a call from Vanessa, my brother's wife. I declined it and put my phone away. Something important? James asked. Just my sister-in-law. Probably calling to defend my parents. Almost immediately, my phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. You need to stop this nonsense, Aubrey. Your parents are devastated by your reaction. Lily was being horrible the entire visit. Call me back. I showed James the message. See what I'm dealing with? They're all acting like I'm the unreasonable one. This could work in our favor, James noted. Keep all these messages. Don't delete anything. And try to get them to elaborate on what happened in writing. As I was leaving James's office, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I answered cautiously. Is this Aubrey Patterson? A woman's voice asked. Yes, this is she. This is Monica Rivera from Newark International Airport's security team. We received a request for information regarding an incident involving your daughter last week. I wanted to touch base with you directly. My breath caught. Yes, my daughter Lily was abandoned at the airport by her grandparents. We have the security footage, Monica confirmed. And one of our agents, Carlos Mendez, was the one who stayed with your daughter until her ride arrived. He filed a detailed report. That's incredibly helpful, I said, feeling a surge of relief. Mr. Mendez was quite concerned about the situation. He mentioned that your daughter said her grandparents told her they were just going to the bathroom before disappearing through security. I stopped walking, feeling sick. They told her they were going to the bathroom? She didn't mention that part to me. Children often try to protect adults, even when those adults have hurt them, Monica said gently. Would you like us to send the security footage to the police or to your lawyer? Both, please, I replied, my resolve strengthening. I'm filing charges. 2 days later, I was setting the table for dinner when the doorbell rang. Lily, who had been quietly doing homework at the kitchen counter, looked up with alarm. Is that them? She asked, her voice small. No, honey. It's probably just the delivery I was expecting, I assured her, though I hadn't been expecting anything. When I opened the door, I found my mother and father standing on the porch, looking irritated. Finally! My mother huffed. We've been calling and texting for days, Aubrey. I blocked the doorway, not inviting them in. I told you not to come. Don't be ridiculous, my father said dismissively. We're family. We need to talk about what happened with Lily. What happened with Lily? I repeated, my voice dangerously quiet. You mean when you abandoned my 12-year-old daughter at an airport without telling me? My mother rolled her eyes. She was being impossible, Aubrey. You've let her get away with too much. We decided she needed to learn about consequences. Consequences? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She forgot to say please a few times and talked back once, so you abandoned her in a place where children get trafficked every day? You're being dramatic, my father cut in. The airport is perfectly safe. There are security guards everywhere. You told her you were going to the bathroom, I said, watching their faces for a reaction. You lied to her, left her alone, and flew to another state. My parents exchanged a quick glance. We may have simplified things for her, my mother admitted reluctantly. But she was throwing such a fit about going home. A fit? I challenged. According to Lily, she was sad about leaving because she was having fun, and you two decided that was disrespectful somehow. Look, what's done is done, my father said impatiently. We're here to smooth things over. Let us talk to Lily. Absolutely not, I stated firmly. You're not seeing Lily today or any day in the foreseeable future. My mother's face hardened. You can't keep our granddaughter from us. We have rights. Actually, you don't, I informed them. And what you do have is a serious legal problem. I've filed a police report for child endangerment and abandonment. My parents' expressions shifted from indignation to shock. You what? My father spluttered. You heard me. The airport has security footage of you abandoning Lily. The security officer who stayed with her filed a detailed report. And I have all your text messages where you admit to what you did. This is absurd, my mother hissed. We were teaching her a lesson. No, you were committing a crime, I corrected. And now you're going to face the consequences. My father's face reddened with anger. You wouldn't dare take this further. We're your parents. Parents don't abandon their grandchildren at airports, I replied steadily. And yes, I absolutely would and will take this further. In fact, I already have. Just then, a car pulled up behind my parents' vehicle. My brother Eric stepped out, his face set in a scowl. What's going on here? He demanded, storming up the walkway. Mom called me in a panic saying you're threatening to have them arrested? I'm not threatening anything, Eric. I've already filed the report. What they did was illegal. Eric threw up his hands in exasperation. Are you serious right now? You're going to put our parents through this because Lily was being a brat? Get off my property, I said, my voice ice cold. All of you, now! You can't do this to us, my mother cried, her voice rising. We raised you! We've done everything for you! Except respect me as a parent and keep my child safe, I replied. Leave now, or I'm calling the police to report you for trespassing too. My father grabbed my mother's arm. Come on, Linda. She's clearly lost her mind. We'll straighten this out with a lawyer. As they turned to leave, my father looked back and pointed a finger at me. You're going to regret this, Aubrey. I promise you that. Is that a threat? I asked calmly, taking out my phone. Because threatening me would be a really bad idea right now. Eric looked between us, his expression conflicted. Aubrey, please. They're our parents. Can't we talk about this? We're way past talking, Eric. You were there. You participated in this. You're lucky I'm not including you in the charges. As they retreated to their cars, I closed the door and leaned against it, my heart pounding. When I turned around, Lily was standing in the hallway, her eyes wide. Are you really going to make Grandma and Grandpa go to jail? She asked, her voice trembling. I sat with Lily on the couch, my arm around her shoulders. They probably won't go to jail, honey, but they need to face consequences for what they did to you. But what if they hate me now? Lily asked, tears welling in her eyes. This isn't about you, sweetheart. Adults are responsible for their own actions. What they did was wrong, and it was also against the law. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of legal proceedings. James had been right. The evidence was overwhelming. The airport security footage clearly showed my parents telling Lily they were going to the bathroom, then proceeding through security without her. The text messages between my parents, Eric, and me further confirmed their intent. The district attorney decided to press charges for child endangerment and abandonment. My parents hired an expensive lawyer who tried to paint it as a family misunderstanding. But the judge wasn't buying it. 3 months after that fateful day at the airport, we were back in court for the final hearing. My parents had agreed to a plea deal to avoid a trial. As part of the agreement, they would serve no jail time but would be placed on probation for 2 years, required to complete 200 hours of community service, attend parenting classes, and pay a substantial fine. After the hearing concluded, my mother approached me in the hallway outside the courtroom. She looked smaller somehow, deflated. "Aubrey, please, this has gone far enough," she pleaded. "We've learned our lesson. Can't we put this behind us?" "Like you put Lily behind you at the airport?" I replied, keeping my voice low but firm. "We made a mistake," my father interjected. "A terrible mistake. We're truly sorry." "Are you?" I challenged. "Because all I've heard from you until today is justification. That Lily deserved it, that I'm overreacting, that I'm a bad parent." "We were wrong," my mother admitted, tears in her eyes. "We know that now. We've lost our jobs, our reputation in the community. Please don't let us lose our family too." I looked at them both for a long moment. "You lost your family the moment you abandoned my daughter. Actions have consequences, Mom. Isn't that what you were trying to teach Lily?" "What can we do?" my father asked desperately. "There must be something." "You can respect the restraining order," I replied calmly. "You can complete your community service and take those parenting classes seriously. And maybe years from now, when Lily is older, if she wants a relationship with you, we can revisit this conversation." "Years?" my mother repeated, aghast. "You can't keep her from us for years." "Actually, I can. The court agrees with me that you're a danger to her well-being." As I turned to walk away, my father called after me. "We're still your parents, Aubrey." I looked back one last time. Parents protect their children. You failed at that in every possible way. 6 months later, I was having coffee with Natalie and James, who had become more than just my lawyer during this ordeal. "Have you heard from them at all?" Natalie asked. I shook my head. "Not directly. Eric calls sometimes, trying to guilt me into reconciliation. Vanessa sent a birthday card to Lily last month." "And how's Lily doing with all of this?" James asked gently. "She's in therapy, which has been incredibly helpful. She still has nightmares sometimes, but they're less frequent. Her therapist says she's processing the trauma remarkably well." "And you?" Natalie pressed. "How are you doing?" I considered the question carefully. "I'm stronger, clearer about my boundaries. I don't regret what I did, if that's what you're asking." "Not even a little?" James wondered. "Sometimes I feel sad about what could have been," I admitted. But then I remember Lily's face when she called me from that airport, how terrified she was, how betrayed. And I know I did the right thing. "You absolutely did," Natalie affirmed. "You stood up for your daughter when no one else would." "Including her uncle," James added. "Any word from Eric lately?" "He sent me a text last week, actually. Said my parents have been faithfully attending their parenting classes. That they've changed." "And what did you say?" Natalie asked. "Nothing yet," I replied. "Some wounds take time to heal. Maybe one day we'll find a way forward, but it won't include pretending what they did was okay." As we finished our coffee, I found myself wondering, what would you have done in my situation? How far would you go to protect your child and make sure those who hurt them face real consequences? Because in the end, that's what family should really be about. Protection, not betrayal. Love, not abandonment. And sometimes, the hardest lesson to learn is that those who should love us the most are capable of hurting us the deepest.